Hello everybody and welcome back to Cm42TV. Yes, welcome to another video. We are here today for my April 2019 Blu-ray movie collection update video. Yes, it's been a while, even though we're already into May. We have to be here so I can show you all of the movies that I was lucky enough to pick up and buy and add to my Blu-ray collection. See, we're sitting right next to it here. I thought I'd a little bit of a sentimental feel to the videos from now on, especially these ones. So yeah, the month of April was weird for me because it wasn't a big buying month or whatever, but I was able to pick up 6 movies within the month of April. 3 from HMV, the 3 for 20 deal on HMV, always very reliable. Although it's kind of changed now. I think it's like 2 for £13. That doesn't work for me whatsoever. 3 for 20 is a nice round number, and 3 is a good amount to buy. And also I managed to pick up 3 from Poundland. There's been a weird resurgence of the Poundland Blu-rays. And near the end of 2018 there was some random pickups here and there from Poundland, just all the same stock in every single Poundland. They kind of disappeared for a bit, and now this past month or so there's just loads more movies. So this month and next month expect to see a lot of Poundland pickups in those updates. But speaking of 2018, my first pickup of the day, that was a kind of a smooth segue. I think I got away with it. My first pickup that I'm going to show I got from HMV, and it was my 2018 movie of the year. Yes, a very high accolade in my opinion. This is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Everybody saw this movie in 2018 because it came out so early in the year. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. It's a good idea because it's kind of near the Oscars. I've never understood it, right? The Oscars are held in February, March time, usually February. So it's like the 2018 best movie, and sometimes the movie came out in 2017 or the year before, depending on what the year is, and it just confuses things. The Oscars should be in feckin' December when, you know, it's the end of a year. Just like all of the YouTube videos and all the podcasts that you saw and you listened to at the end of 2018 talked about the top 10 films, and about, I don't know, I'm going to guess 83% of those top 10s that you saw from around the world, whether it be on YouTube or podcast wise, or from blogs you read or whatever, magazines, anything like that, any top 10s from 2018, at least a lot of them had this very high up on their list. 3 Billboards just is one of those movies that has everything. I kind of talked about it in my top 10 of 2018 podcast, which I believe is right here, product placement. It was one of those movies where I loved every single minute of it because it's one of those movies that has everything. It has comedy, it has action, it has a pure mad twist, it has some really surreal moments, it has some bits that you totally are caught off guard by, it has great writing, because it was written by Martin McDonagh. I'm a big fan of his writing for his plays that he's done. There's a play called A Handing in Spokane, which I'm a big fan of, and I've done wee bits and pieces from that play. So anytime I see his name, I kind of associate him with that, and now with 3 Billboards. And of course, such an amazing cast as well, with Frances McDormand, and we have Sam Rockwell, who's great by the way, and Woody Harrelson, who's amazing in this film. Peter Dinklage shows up. It's kind of like an actor from almost nearly every generation is kind of involved in this film. But yeah, brilliant, so funny, emotional, just action-packed, lots of twists, thriller-like, brilliant, thrilling I should have said, not thriller, not like Michael Jackson, a thrilling film. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri is a must-have for any Blu-ray collection, let alone a collection of great movies that certain people approve of. So there you go, there's the first one, 3 Billboards, brilliant. Up next is a classic film that I watched in anticipation for somewhat reviewing for my 100 movies bucket list poster series that I do here on the channel, where I talk about 100 of the best movies ever made that are put on like a movie poster. So I'll kind of briefly talk about it, but I'm more talk about the experience of me watching the film and how I felt, whether it be first impressions or if it's a classic, if I watched it before, how I feel now, that sort of thing. This one was a total blind watch. I'd never seen it before, but I'd always wanted to watch it. Watched it for the series, absolutely loved it, and then within the next week or so saw it in HMV and needed to add it to the collection, and that is Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. Brilliant film. I talked about it a lot on my my bucket list review thing, but it's one of those ones we hear about all the time. Enter the Dragon this, Enter the Dragon that. Inspires lots of sort of kung fu fighting films, inspire lots of actors to get into sort of stage fighting and stunt fighting and just kung fu in general. Bruce Lee, it ends up being Bruce Lee's final film, which is always a nice thing to have. But the absolute legend of Bruce Lee, I believe this was 1973 this film came out. That is a long time ago. I don't know if it came out in April or if it just came out during the year, I don't know. Yeah, brilliant film. I talk about it at length, I guess, in my bucket list review. It's one of those ones where you can just kind of stick on. You don't need to worry about kind of catching up or anything. You can just kind of put it on, and whatever part it's at, you can kind of enjoy. So it's all about Bruce Lee competing in this sort of kung fu tournament, because the guy who's kind of running it is a bit of a crook, so they're kind of trying to bust him at the same time. So much fun. It's cheesy at points, but it's also awesome. Like, some of the fighting scenes are very violent and very well done anyway. So yeah, but it's one of those ones where I totally forgot about this. This film was filmed without any sound, and then it was all dubbed afterwards, which I find feckin' bonkers. It's a normal thing for like this type of cinema and old blockbusters, that was a sort of normality for that to happen. But for me, I'd never seen a film like that before. So it was a very weird one for me watching this, but it's very interesting, and it's something that I'd recommend you guys checking out for that reason, because it's a very interesting way to watch a film. But there you go, Enter the Dragon. And the third one to make up the 3 for 20 deal is one of my favourite movies of all time, and it is a film that I watch every single Christmas, although technically it's not really a Christmas film, but I still consider it a film that you can only watch in November, December sort of time. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. This is a sort of holiday family film, isn't it? It's not necessarily Christmas. He's kind of trying to go home for Thanksgiving. But the thing he talks about all the time is, I gotta make it home for the holidays. And to me, that means Christmas. So that means that time of year anyway. It's snowy, you know, they're wearing the big jackets and stuff. It's very family orientated. And if it's that sort of time of the year, I mean, November is Thanksgiving time, isn't it? So it's that kind of time of year. I kind of consider it a mad Christmas sort of celebration film. So I love watching this film at sort of December, November sort of time, the latter stages of the year. And this past year, I showed my sister this film, and I think she really enjoyed it. I can't really remember, but it's a classic. Obviously, two of the funniest actors, the most beloved actors of all time, John Candy and the big bulging Steve Martin. Steve Martin is one of my favourite actors of all time. I think his Pink Panther in 2006 is hugely underrated. I think people just criticise that just because he's not Peter Sellers, but I think that film's hilarious. It's a John Hughes film, one of my favourite filmmakers of all time. And there's nothing really that I can fault with this film. I've watched it every single year since 2015, maybe 14, I'm not sure, but I fell in love with it, and I fall in love with it even more every year when I watch it. So yeah, Planes, Trains and Automobiles completes the 3 for £20 deal in HMV for April. Now moving on to the Poundland pickups. As I said before, it was just a total resurgence of random films that just started showing up in people's Poundlands, and there's like more and more new ones being revealed every month now, so hopefully that's a recurring theme and we can pick these films up for £1 or £2 as they so cheekily sell them for. The first one is The Transporter, but this is also the 2 movie collection, so it's The Transporter 1 and The Transporter 2. So I've never seen these films. I like Jason Statham, I like kind of cheesy action films. And for £2 for both films, I couldn't pass it up. But these look really fun. I've always kind of seen them advertised. You see the poster. That's kind of like an iconic action image these days. Jason Statham in some mad pose thing. So I've always heard that they're really fun. They're really easy to watch, and a lot of people like them for that sort of daft action sort of blockbuster. And the sequel, I'm assuming, will be the same sort of thing. So yeah, a great Jason Statham sort of typical Jason Statham film. I'm looking forward to checking out The Transporter 1 and 2. Can't say anything about it because, as I said, I have never seen them. So that's always a weird thing with me. I always try to say I'm only going to buy movies that I know I love and that I approve of, because then they're in the collection for rewatchable factors and just for like that seal of approval. I have that movie in my collection. It's okay with me. But when you see films at this price that you're always kind of interested in, it's hard to pass them up. I've got some Criterions in there and some random films like this one. I think I talked about it last month, but this was in Poundland as well. I think Chappie. Never seen it, have no desire to see it, but I've always kind of seen it advertised and always kind of thought that might be quite interesting, and I bought it for £1, you know. So this is another example of that, but this is one I actually am more interested in seeing. In fact, there's 2 of them. It completes the set, you know, without even fucking seeing them. So The Transporter 1 and 2 from Poundland, can't go wrong, I hope. This next one is another one I'm just totally guilty by because I have no idea why I bought it. I just kind of picked it up. I liked the sound of it by reading the back. I've never even fucking heard of it before. Cabin Fever. I don't know if anybody has heard of this one or likes the film. £2, as I say. Very interesting. It says replay here, right, which makes me think they're second-hand Blu-rays and stuff. But it's always the same stock in every Poundland. So it can't just be like mass amounts of Cabin Fevers or the Transporter 2 movie collections in every single Poundland. So it must not be that. I don't know why it's replay, but it says quality guaranteed. So as long as they say that and as long as it's true, that's fine by me. bloodier than an explosion in a slaughterhouse. I mean, if that doesn't make you want to spend £2 on a movie, I don't know what will. Cabin fever, very interesting. Leaving out the cellophane yet, but when it does, I'm sure I'll really enjoy it. And the extra on here, behind the scenes, nah. And last but not least, sets this up very nicely for me to talk about an upcoming series here on the channel, The Fast and the Furious, the original. Yes, this is the first Fast and Furious film. Been dying to see it for ages. Been dying to finally get into the Fast and Furious films, and I have done so. Because the day I bought this, it actually showed the Fast and Furious on STV or ITV. So, from now on, every single Saturday night, STV are showing every Fast and Furious film. Couldn't have come at a better time. So, every Saturday/Sunday, I'll be checking out the Fast and Furious films and talking about them here on Cm42TV. I'm going to try to anyway, no promises. I'm not very good with that sort of thing, especially the fact I'm not very good at reviewing films I've found. I just kind of talk about what I thought and how it will affect me going forward and if I would add it to my Blu-ray collection. But you all know the spoiler for that one because the Fast and Furious 1 is now added to the Blu-ray collection. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. I'll talk about it more in that review. But for £2, one of those ones I've always wanted to see and finally, wanted to get cracked onto. So you can't go wrong with this whatsoever. So there you go, the Fast and Furious added to the collection officially. That is the original. And hopefully as I go on in the viewing of all the Fast and Furious films, I can talk about them in some capacity here, especially because Hobbs and Shaw comes out later in the year. I'm really interested to see how that film is, so yeah. So just to recap, an interesting month for movie buying for my life. We have Fast and Furious 1, the original. I love how it says the original. I suppose because the next one in the list, so Fast and Furious 4 is just called Fast and Furious, so I kind of need to make it clear that that's the original. That's Fast and Furious 1, the Fast and the Furious. Cabin fever, no idea. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Enter the Dragon. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. And The Transporter 1 and 2. 3 movies from HMV. 3 movies from Poundland. Pretty successful, if you ask me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys are well and I hope you enjoyed. You can follow me on Twitter at Cm42TV. And please check back on the channel for more updates. More movie chat, more reaction videos and all sorts of new things coming up here on Cm42TV. And remember, new podcasts coming very, very soon. The return edition of the Good Bit podcast for episode number 54. We'll finally get to add one to this playlist. All about Avengers Endgame is coming this coming Friday, which is May the 10th. That's right, May the 10th. Friday, May the 10th is the return of the Good Bit, so check it out here on Cm42TV, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, folks, thank you very much for watching. My name is Christopher. Take care of yourselves out there, and go buy some movies. Poundland have hunters.